Alright, I forgot earlier to add this, but Overpower is the one we have for the warfare skills. It does a good amount of damage, surprisingly, a lot of damage, and sets down knockdown for 2 turns, not 1. Arrow spray is just like the other one. It hits about 16 arrows in a small arc. It's best used when you're really close or when you're sure you can hit a large amount of hits with your arrows. I think it is better than it used to, because it used to be that you had to hit almost every single arrow to make it worth it. But the AP is still 3, 2 for Overpower. Mortal Blow is the same idea as... actually, it's a lot stronger than Snipe, but it's in melee. This I have not used yet. It looks really strong. 500%. I mean, on a rogue, you're probably doing like 1,000 damage or so on the worm at that area, about level 8. That is huge. You can use it while invisible also. Walk in Shadows is basically the old... It's the same thing. Invisible, but it's only 3 turns this time. But now you need Source. This is how they are going to make it so that it's not OP. You need Source. You can't just use it whenever you want. 3 turns gives you a very limited time to steal stuff. It works, and you can spam it, but you have to be quick. Epinephrine Fire we've covered. We can't use it, but it just does a lot of fire damage. Compared to Fireball, it does about double the Fireball. And only 2 AP as opposed to 3. That one's kind of useless. This is very similar. Acid Spores is very similar to the Epidemic of Fire. It seems like it does like less damage, but I think it does 3, if not 4 spores. It does a lot of damage. It does not do... Yes, it does of Corrosive Acid. This could actually be Cursed Acid. It is not just your regular poison. It does poison damage, and then an Acid Puddle, which Acid is even stronger than poison. And I think it chews at armor. And you have Steam Lance, which is the same thing as Battle Stomp. A cone that does healing. So if you have a lot of undead in front of you, you can use it that way, or heal your group if they're facing the right way. Alright, we got these. Then Infect, I have not used that one either. It only does magic to armor. If the target is standing in water, blood, it will turn it to poison. So that could be really handy to do some pretty good damage when you think you're safe, and all of a sudden Infect happens. It takes 3 points. It also does disease if the armor is removed. But the amount of damage it does to armor, I can see it very well happening. So their maximum constitution is reduced, so their health will drop. So it won't look like you do much damage, but their max health is reduced. You have to be careful with that because it won't show you you're actually taking damage from it. But you technically are. It's just you don't see it. Alright, now we have Hydra. We can cover some of these out of combat. Now, Armor of Frost is the, I guess, not counter, but the other skill that went with First Aid. So this will remove... Armor of Frost will form a defensive barrier around the target character. So then I'll do it on somebody that... He doesn't have much armor, magical armor. Now he gained like 110, which is huge. Compared to his 15. It lasts 3 turns. Cures stunned, petrified, diseased, cursed, and decaying. Now, the magic shell is pretty handy, especially if you notice you're going through a lot of magical damage. You want your character to walk through fire, through poison, and not take damage. Pretty handy. And it only costs 1 AP. A lot of these skills that are support skills are actually really good because they don't cost much. Now we have Hail Strike. I can do it on here. Hail is a bit, I don't know, misleading. So let's set up our group here and figure out its range. So I'm going to bring my main guy here. Not low C. My other character here. And then they're about spaced, I don't know, close enough to being... Alright. So if I do Hail, I know this will reach him. It may even reach him. With low C, Hail is really good. It costs 1 AP. It does a lot of damage. It says 39 to 43. It does more than that. Let's move up closer. You can see this properly. So this is the AoE of Hail. I'm doing it right on top of him. I'm not even highlighting my other warrior. And look at the range. It did a pretty far range, and it did more than it said, obviously. It went through his armor and still did damage. Like, it's a lot more. And does chilled also. It can freeze them if it hits them with enough that once the... I would have done it... Oh. If I would have done it on the warrior that has less... Okay, he's a bit farther. Alright, let's try it this time. So if I were to do it on this warrior that has less armor, less magical armor, he should be frozen by the end of it. Because it chewed through it and still hit him. But look at the damage. Like, it did a lot of damage there. More than it says here. And it's only 1 AP. So definitely use this skill. It is pretty amazing. Another one that is basically the same, Hydro Blast. But if I regroup my people... Do I have a bedroll at all? So like they were positioned earlier. Yeah, well, doesn't matter. I'll show you. Segue into healing spells. So you have your restoration, which is your single target heal. It says 109 vitality for 2 turns. If I do it on him, he's almost dead. So it'll do 1 tick, and after a while, it'll do another tick. So it turns to 1. So it does 2 ticks of healing. It will remove poison. If you're poisoned, it will remove it. If you're healing, somebody poisons you, it will remove your healing. Remember that. So it's kind of like regen, and they remove each other. They're kind of the counter buff to debuff. So he fully healed out of that, which is a lot of health. 200 HP. Let's do another one of these. Okay, let's do Winter Blast. Now this may be a bit stronger, but the range... So I'm going to hit these 2, but probably not Ben. It doesn't have a larger AoE than it shows. Didn't hit anything. Alright, never mind. Can't do it on allies. So it would do the circle, and it would probably do frozen if they're chilled. So it works really well with rain. The rain causes wet. Wet means they're taking more. These 2 are wet. They have fire resistance plus 10, but water and air minus 10. That's a pretty big difference for casting a spell like rain. Like it costs 1 AP, and look at the range. Like it will, and it doesn't pull. So if I do rain, it'll leave a puddle also that you can use to electrify it. But it puts out fire, and everybody here got wet. A good use for this: if an enemy is invisible, instead of just showing you wet over their name, they'll actually pop up. It's a debuff. They are no longer invisible. Just remember that in combat. It does happen when enemies try to trick you and just disappear. This is another good one because you can combine Hail and Winter Blast in one, and they do about the same thing. Does more damage, a massive amount, and they take 20% more damage from ice right now when they're frozen. It's pretty good. Like, Hydro has a lot more damage, I think, than it did before. That could be just me. Okay, now, to cover the heal, I'm going to put him here. I'm going to put Ron here. And Ben over here. I'm pretty sure this is going to work. This is the new AoE heal. Called Healing Ritual. Shoots a bolt of healing energy that will jump to nearby allies. You can't cast it on an enemy, but you can cast it on an ally. You can cast it on him. You can cast it on yourself. If I cast it on my ally, it won't come heal me. It'll travel and then find the other 2. But he got 100 health. You don't get 2 ticks. Technically you get 3 ticks, so it's not as good on a single target as Restoration, but it is good if you're trying to heal everyone. Healing Ritual is ready again. I'm gonna cast it on myself. It travels to everyone else. If you want a maximum effect, use it on yourself. Now, if I move, I don't know, over here to show that it does work, maybe even with line of sight. He's kind of far too. Like, he's definitely out of range. So is he. If I heal myself, he's in range technically. So heal myself. You get 2, 3. Oh, he healed somebody else. So it healed someone else instead of him because he's out of line of sight. Okay. But he's also, it could have been because he's out of range. If I'm in range now, because you have to have line of sight to heal him with this skill too. But you don't need it for hail. So hail is that top down, just like Boulder Bash used to be. Top down, amazing. It goes through, it goes wherever you want it to go. That's the nice thing about it. If there's a cloud of smoke and you can't, you have to physically shoot a target or aim at a target, you can aim past them for most skills. Some skills you actually have to see them. This one doesn't matter. You know where he is, you just drop it down. But see how big it is. It actually probably gonna hit him. Like, it's a large AoE. So I'm gonna heal myself again. Now he healed even more people. So as long as it's in range, doesn't have to be line of sight. Just has to be in range for the heal. Pretty cool. So if you were at a height advantage, you could actually heal pretty far. This skill is good, but you cannot use it against undead. If you want to use something against undead, this one or Steam Lance. This is about it for the Hydro Sophist.